There wasn't always as much rubbish in and around the Mpanga River. That's what locals say. But the problem has become worse and worse. The garbage now blocks the flow of the river and pollutes the water. To clean it up, these days, everyone pitches in, with locals from Fort Portal in western Uganda coming together once a month to collect garbage. As head of a local conservation group, Edgar Muganzi successfully raised awareness of the problem. To start with, he had to contend with a lot of reluctance.
It is a problem dumping anyhow within the buffer zones of the river, even outside the river, by the way. As you walk around, you'll realize waste management is still a problem in Fort Portal. As we're doing this work, we don't do it ourselves. We involve the leadership because they're the ones with authority. We involve the communities.
The quality of the river's water is crucial for the region. Originating in the mountains, it irrigates the fields around Fort Portal and flows into Lake George, a regional fishing hub. But large swaths of land along the river have been deforested, causing widespread erosion. The only intact forest left is in the Kibale National Park. It's home to some 1,400 chimpanzees, making it one of their most important habitats in Uganda. Their survival depends on a functioning clean water supply. If the river is degraded, regional biodiversity will suffer. Getting the general public interested in conservation was no easy task. Most of the locals live in poverty. Environmental protection has to make economic sense if it's going to catch on. So Muganzi works as both conservationist and financial advisor. He explains to locals how to save and invest their money.
That is one interest strategy that we use. It's an interest strategy to the community because, of course, we came and everyone was doing his own thing. So the strategy was let them come together, find a common activities together so that they were able to bring in our other issues like environment protection, tree planting, eco-san constructions. But the other thing that mostly brings them together is the saving.
Every Thursday, locals come together in a savings community. They pay in what they've earned and can lend money to one another.
They already have successful stories. Some people borrow to go make their businesses, however small they are, but they are so meaningful and they have an impact on their lives.
The savings community now has 150 members. In return for their membership privileges, they take part in garbage collection and reforestation efforts. Thanks to the community, some local farmers have been able to establish a successful second line of business. Maria Goretti Beguma is a member of the savings community who's managed to set up a business with a loan. The mother of 6 used to farm a small plot of land. Now she's a shop owner and providing for her family. Without Muganzi's financial advice, she would never have taken that step.
I deposited 100,000 shillings with the savings group, and later I was able to borrow 200,000. I used that money to buy items for my store. By reselling them, I make a profit.
Muganzi collects seedlings of native trees in the national park, which he plants along the river as part of the reforestation efforts. He set up a nursery where the saplings are carefully tended for a few weeks before they're ready to plant. Muganzi and the savings community have planted 18,000 trees so far. Local authorities provide support in the form of funds and land. Today, the conservationist is on his way to give a talk to school children.
Because we are talking about water and we are saying how we can protect our water as a resource, isn't it?
Ensuring a clean water supply, keeping forests intact, and preventing ground erosion. Those are the cornerstones of his message to the next generation.
Soil erosion.
Muganzi has taken that message into 20 schools. He doesn't even need to offer these young people financial incentives to spark their interest. Around 2,000 of them belong to environment clubs. He says it's much harder to convince adults of the importance of environmental issues than young people. He's pinning his hopes on them to make a difference.
If you want anything good, it has to start with the children, because they're the ones going to manage these natural resources in the future. So the moment you start, when they're still young, you inculcate that culture of environment, that culture of conservation, environment conservation, when they're still young. So they will grow knowing it's very important to protect the environment.
With their help, he's confident he can reach his target. In the next few years, Edgar Muganzi is hoping to plant 1 million trees.